Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Abby. If you are new here, I have a very exciting video for you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about what I noticed during my spiritual journey. So I want to talk about a spiritual journey. I was watching YouTube this morning and girls I was watching, they were talking about spiritual journey, and I wouldn't really consider myself the most spiritual person, but I'm definitely learning. I feel like I'm more spiritual now than I ever was. I feel like I started my spiritual journey this year in 2023. I definitely learned a lot about myself this year, and I stepped out of my comfort zone this year, which makes me feel like, okay, maybe I am more spiritual. Okay, so the first thing I noticed was I noticed a lot of rainbows, and I feel like you don't really see rainbows that often. You can notice rainbows if you're like looking for rainbows, like if it just rained and the sun comes out.
I wanted to do a quick pause here, but I wanted to say that rainbow spirituality is a sign of hope, new beginnings, and transformation. As well as some believe it is an angel looking down on you or a message from a loved one.
And the sun comes out, that's when you know there will be a rainbow somewhere. But it's just like, for me, I wasn't even looking for a rainbow and I would see a rainbow. I just think that's really cool, and I feel like, that's more spiritual, is to see something that you're not purposely looking for, if that makes sense. The second thing I noticed during my spiritual journey is 2023, I was authentically myself. I was 100% myself. I didn't change for anyone. I wasn't holding back. So whether I lost friends, at the end of the day, was I really losing anything? Because like I said, I was authentically myself. I was 100% real. If they were fake, then I don't think I lost anything. The third thing I did when I did my spiritual journey, or noticed my spiritual journey, is I stepped out of my comfort zone in 2023. I forced myself to kind of do things alone. Like I mentioned in my last video where I talk about how to develop a self-care routine, I met one of my friends where we all went out for our birthdays, and I met a bunch of girls, and I'm glad I did that. But I also public speaked. I also met a lot of people in school. I drove to the beach by myself, which that's something like I don't usually do. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of driving, and the fact that I did that is very major for me. So kind of like how I stepped out of my comfort zone, I also faced my fears. Like I said, 2022 and 2023, I did a lot of driving, and I used to be so scared of driving. I would not like driving in new areas or in a different city, but in 2023, I drove everywhere. Like, I drove to cities, I drove to the beach, I just drove around town, which that's very major for me. So another thing that I noticed during my spiritual journey is that I love things that I used to hate. Like, for example, I used to hate New Year's Eve, but I love New Year's Eve now. Like, I love that, a chapter is ending and a new one's beginning. I feel like New Year's Eve is, people are hopeful in New Year's Eve, and whether New Year's Eve or the next year might be the same, but it's just like, okay, well, it gives people motivation, and people need motivation. Another thing is I used to love white nails and hate black nails. I felt like black nails made me feel very pale, but I feel reversed. Like, I love black nails now, and I don't really like white nails. But I do like this color now. I mean, white nails are like a classic, but like, I love black nails now. And I used to hate black nails. It's so crazy. The next thing I noticed during my spiritual journey is that the things that weren't aligned with myself or my higher potential just naturally left my life. For example, like, I was in this relationship and that ended. I also thought I had a really good friend that ended up not being a good friend. That also just naturally left. Like, the things that I thought were like aligned with me and my future, which weren't, just naturally left. So I feel like when you are more spiritual, the things that aren't aligned with you or your higher potential will naturally just leave your life. I also had a lot of temp jobs this year, and those also just naturally left. And then I wanted a HR job because I went to school for HR, and I do have an HR job. And looking back, that job kind of just fell on my lap. So I'm just like, that's when I'm just like, okay, maybe I am more spiritual than I ever thought I was. So like I mentioned, how things that aren't aligned with you will naturally leave your life. The next step is, I have stuff I manifested in the past. I remember praying that I wanted a degree. I remember praying I wanted a job, like a full-time HR job. And I have those things. A lot of it was mainly my hard work, but you know, just I feel like if you're more spiritual, things will just naturally come to you. Which I know that's typical, everyone says that, but I feel like it's 100% true. You know, it's just like trusting the universe. Watch my video if you have not seen that video. It's the first video I ever made for my YouTube channel. So the second to last thing I noticed so far in my spiritual journey is that I achieved my goals. Like I mentioned, graduated college, which that was like such a goal of mine. Like I had that goal since I was a freshman in high school. The goal of mine was to find an HR job, and I have one. Okay, so the last thing that I noticed during my spiritual journey is that I started to put myself first. I started to really value myself and my time and my beliefs. Prior to that, I would kind of just say yes to a lot of things. Like I was such a people pleaser. And there's nothing wrong with being a people pleaser, but I was a people pleaser that also had no boundaries. Like I neglected myself so much for other people. Like why? Like if a guy I liked wanted to hang out at night, I would be like, okay, well, I want to see you, so I guess the only reason for me to see you is if we hang out at night. Like, girl, no, that's not the reason. But like I said, I definitely neglected my boundaries, and now I really focus on putting myself first. Like I have strong boundaries, and I also have a non-negotiable list that I came up with listening to Tam Carr's podcast. And I love my non-negotiable list, like 100%. I hope you guys enjoyed my video of me discussing what I noticed during my spiritual journey. Like I said, I wouldn't consider myself the most spiritual person, but I am learning every day, and I really enjoy where I am at now, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I definitely want to learn more and to really be in tune with myself and my higher good, and to learn more spirituality. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time.